Thank you for returning for the demonstration portion of our Lunch and Learn Course 6, where we reviewed proxies that can be used for web applications. Today, we'll be demonstrating Burp Suite, which was one of the proxies we reviewed. We'll be demonstrating Burp Suite through a vendor partner of the Tech Data Cyber Range, Rangeforce. And we'll be going over the basics of Burp Suite. So let's go ahead and launch the module. And once it's loaded up here, we'll be greeted by the virtual teaching assistant, which will give us the steps for completion of this module. And those steps will walk us through the basic usages of Burp Suite, from intercepting requests to repeating those requests and manipulating parameters to identify certain types of vulnerabilities in a web application. So let's go ahead and get started here. In the first step, we're going to be setting up our web browser to utilize Burp Suite as a proxy. So first, let's go ahead and get Burp Suite spun up. Here we're working in a Kali-like desktop environment. And with Kali comes the community edition of Burp Suite. In our Lunch and Learn presentation, we talked about how Burp Suite has both a community edition and a professional edition. The professional edition provides more features and functionality than the community edition, but for this module, we'll be able to get by in using the community edition. So under preferences in Firefox is where you can search for your proxy settings. Following along the virtual teaching assistant, we see that they do want us to open up preferences and set our proxy to the local host address with a port of 8080. And then we also want to ensure we check to use this proxy for both HTTP and HTTPS traffic. Now that we've done that, though, we need to visit the Burp Suite splash page and get the certificate from Burp Suite so that we can add it into our trusted certificate. So we're going to click here. We're going to save the file. Now that the file is saved, we'll come back into preferences and we'll search for certificates. We'll view and import. And we'll select to trust this certificate authority to identify websites and identify email addresses. We'll click OK. And to confirm that that works, you see that this request was done over HTTP. We'll now change it to HTTPS. And we confirm, because we have the Burp Suite splash page, that it does work. We also can confirm that by the check mark we've received from the virtual teaching assistant. So now we're going to move over to working with this vulnerable web application. Here's some interesting information about the web app and the requests that we're going to be intercepting. We can see that it's going to be on the My Profile page, that when we browse the My Profile page, we need to make sure that Burp Suite is set to intercept the traffic. And then we're specifically looking for a post request upon saving our profile. So let's go ahead and go through those steps. So I'm not going to turn intercept on yet. I'm going to go ahead and get logged in using the email and password provided. Now that I've logged in here, before I go to the profile page, I'm going to go ahead and turn intercept on. we'll go ahead and forward the request to the profile page. And here is the request we specifically want to intercept. We're going to say save changes. The post request is going to come in. And here's where they want for us to see if we can elevate our privileges to admin. Well, here is a parameter that looks interesting to us where our role is user. So I'm going to change my role to admin. I'm going to also send this request to repeater in case I need to use it later. And I'm going to forward the admin request. You can see here my role has been changed to admin. I was a user before, and I received a check mark from the virtual teaching assistant regarding this interception. Now, with repeater, you'll see that I did send the request to repeater already, but there's another way that you can do it by looking through the HTTP log for the post request. So here's the post request, and if we wanted to do it from here, we could also send it to repeater from the HTTP log. I already have one of these post requests in repeater, so let's go ahead and go back to repeater. And now let's find out what the virtual teaching assistant wants for us to do. So first, it would like for us to change the role from something different than admin and user. So let's say we're a developer. Go ahead and send that on through. We received a 200 response, and we received a check mark from the virtual teaching assistant. Now, it also would like for us to change our email address. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to learner@Rangeforce. The request has been accepted with a 200 response. We confirm that it worked through the virtual teaching assistant. Next, we're going to be changing our department. So let's change our department from sales. And since we use the role of developer, let's change our department to development. Send on that request. Again, we received back in the response a 200 OK, which means our response was received. And now it wants us to test for an unexpected action by submitting a different password for password 1 than our password confirmed. So we're going to come in here and say password 1 equals to temp, and password confirmed is temp 2. Go ahead and send that request through. We see that we have a 302 response from the web server where we're getting redirection. That completes the Burp Suite Basics module from Rangeforce, where we reviewed how to use Burp Suite for some basic tasks in intercepting web traffic between a client and a server, manipulating parameters, and then repeating our requests to see the result. So this was your demonstration of Burp Suite for our course 6, Lunch and Learn. Thank you so much.